Hi, welcome to Santa Barbara Forum. I'm here with Bobbi McGinnis, chairperson for Santa Barbara County Republican Party, and we're here to discuss the candidates for Santa Barbara County that are endorsed by the Republican Party. And I just want to direct everybody's attention to santabarbaragop.org, the website, for further information. And welcome, Bobbi.
Thanks, Ed. And this is Ed Fuller. He is our candidate for the Goleta Sanitary District. He's one of 54 candidates that we have running this year in our election. So to begin with, I'm going to follow a little slide program here. The first couple of candidates we want to talk about, Ed, is the Allen Hancock Board of Trustees, Bobbi Mercado, and Suzanne Levy. Suzanne actually reached out to us and asked for a very early endorsement, and Bobbi Mercado is a new resident of the Lompoc area, longtime conservative. He's actually was president of the Conservatives of California, here, a local club, and he's an accountant, an accounting background, and so he decided he would run for the Allen Hancock Board of Trustees. Maybe what I should tell you is why have we recruited. If you look at our slate, again, go to santabarbaragop.org, you wonder why is it that we have worked so hard to get quality candidates to run, particularly for the school board races. The Board of Trustees at the county level, which is the first race they've had in the last 20 years. That's 20 years. There's been no race for the seats at the Santa Barbara County. And just to let you know, our candidates there are Bruce Porter in District 3, Michelle DeWord in District 4. We have Lou Segal, who is running for District 6. And we also have Cage Englander running for District 2. So those are our candidates for the County Board of Education. And what the County Board of Education, and let me go back to my question of why. Why have we recruited so many people to run for the school districts and school boards? Well, in Santa Barbara, South Santa Barbara, only 50% of our kids are performing at grade level. You heard me right, 50%. But as bad as that is for an area as wealthy as Santa Barbara, you go look at what's happening in North County and it's far worse. They only have maybe 20 to 25% of their kids on track. And some schools are way less than that. They have no kids on track for reading and writing. So when you ask the question, why, Ed, in such an affluent area where we have so much available resources for kids, why are they failing in our schools?
Why?
Yeah, why, Ed? Do you have any idea?
Well, we've had the same people running the show for the past 20 years or so, and maybe it's time for a change and get people who can bring in new ideas and make some changes that will benefit the kids and benefit our society.
And it's not just ideas. It's getting it back to basics. If you notice in the paper, there's been a lot of parents unhappy with the Santa Barbara Unified. It's been in the paper a lot recently. I don't know how many lawsuits are against Santa Barbara Unified, but there are a number. So many that they have a full-time lawyer on staff at the board meetings so that they are dealing with one lawsuit after another. And why is it that we have this atmosphere of contention that parents are against administrators? And teachers have been subdued and they can't speak their minds. They can't share their opinions. Why has that happened? And it really starts at the top with the County Board of Education. They are in charge of a tremendous amount of money, overseeing a tremendous amount of dollars that are sent to the various schools. But when you have people who are sitting on the board, which I think the least amount of time has been 5 years. That's some of our opponents who have been lifetime Republicans have switched their Republican status to a Democrat for this race, even though it's a nonpartisan race, because we want to have people at the county level that are going to be warriors, questioning and working with the administration to create a successful school system. The Santa Barbara Unified, you have a contention about the Teen Talk sex education program. You've had contention about there's a lawsuit regarding the Just Communities. Do you remember what the actual title of that lawsuit is, Ed, or who's the group that's?
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Fair Education.
That's right, Fair Education.
Yes. And the reason they just want to see equality for all kids in the schools, and we need to be able to shrink the gap between the white kids and the kids of color who are not performing as well. But when you look at how our district has been spending its money, and I'm not an expert, I'm just looking from the outside. I was a gate teacher for the Goleta Unified School District for 7 years, so I have an interest and a passion in education. But when you start to look at how functioning the districts are that use and spend their money wisely, for example, in one of the board meetings, there was the Santa Barbara Unified gave $1 million away to our local nonprofits. $600,000 went to COM, $300,000 went to this group called Just Communities. And yet the art teacher at one of the junior highs was given $600 to teach art in a year with 150 kids. Now, is that equity? Is that fair? And these groups, and what's really disturbing, or the question you have to ask, why is the district going to an outside vendor for implicit bias training when it's free from the state of California? And oh, by the way, Ed, did you know the state California's program has won an Emmy Award because it's such a quality program? And it would cost our district practically nothing to participate in that program.
I did not know that.
Why?
Why? Yeah.
And then, so because of all the turmoil, and there's been a lot of turmoil and disappointment, we had the superintendent. Do you remember his name, Ed?
There's been a couple recently.
Well, Kerry Matsusoko was the superintendent he took early retirement because of all the conflict going on at Santa Barbara Unified. And now we have a new superintendent, and we've got to give her a chance, but she's coming from LA Unified. You know there are schools in LA Unified that have a 1, 2, or a 3 ranking. I believe if Santa Barbara did not include Goleta's elementary schools in with the test scores of Santa Barbara's test scores, it would be their rankings would be way worse as well. So the schools have been taken over by a very left activist group that is basically teaching liberalism, and it's not using the money in ways in which are going to help our kids to get them back on track for grade level.
For the basics.
The basics, back to basics. In fact, we have a saying that the status quo has to go. The people sitting at the Santa Barbara County School Board, they're incumbents. Do they need to be reelected? Should they be reelected when the schools across the county have just plummeted over the last 20 years? My kids went through the school district, youngest graduated in 2007. This is not the same school district that they attended. Things have gotten way worse, and there's been much more of a divide. And less of the dollars that are coming into the district are getting served to the students. And I would like to tell all the administration, all the teachers, poverty is no excuse for poor education. There are school districts in central California where the kids come from farm labor immigrant schools, and they are performing better than our kids. They have higher graduation rates. And we have kids that they go from elementary school all the way through high school and graduate, and they don't know English or reading, writing, and arithmetic skills well enough to pass even a simple plumber's exam. I'm not saying the plumber's exam is that simple, but at least the kids graduating should, if they can't go on to college, they should at least be able to go into a trade and have the skills they need to work at that trade.
To learn it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the Santa Barbara Unified Board, which is, we have our candidates are Brian Campbell and Elrod McLaren. I love his name.
Yes,
McLaren. And both of them are competent, well-educated individuals. They have a passion for education, a passion for kids. They want to see the school district get back to basics and really, really diminish the curb that we have, the gap we have between children of minority families versus the white kids who seem to be doing. But actually, the kids doing the best are our Asian kids. They're the ones that do the best. So,
but we really want to see all kids do well.
But that's it. We want all kids to do well. And you know, the worst kind of inequity is the inequity of education.
Right.
So when you hear that people are fleeing the school district and sending their kids to the local private schools are exploding because the school district is not doing a competent job of teaching kids English, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And that's really what it gets back to. It's a back to basics movement. That's we're backed by parents and by business people who want to see our schools do better. The Deputy Sheriff Association just endorsed all of our candidates across the county. So perhaps we need to look at some of the other candidates.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Tell us about there's the Goleta Union School District, right?
Oh yeah. The race for Goleta Union, we have Carolyn Abate and Greg Hemmel. Mm-hmm. Would you like to say, I know that you know Carolyn and Greg.
Caroline's currently a teacher at St. Raphael's School. She's been teaching there for about 7 years. She has a degree in biology and was a RN before she went into teaching. But she really loves teaching, and she's really sick of how the schools are failing the kids. And she really wants to get the schools back on track and get good educations for all the students. I mean, she's committed to this.
Fantastic. Do you know very much about Greg?
I don't. Do you?
Well, I know that Greg is an engineer. He works for Raytheon. He has had kids go through the schools just recently. I believe he has a high schooler at Dos Pueblos High School. And again, he's passionate. He wants to help kids do better, and he feels that the school district can do better if you have better people sitting as the trustees. He's invested in the Goleta community, and he wants to see it perform better. I might add too that so when you look at our different candidates for the schools, we also have a man by the name of Gabriel Morales. He's had a lot of experience with various different social agencies up in the Santa Maria area. He's running for the Santa Maria School Board. Again, Santa Maria and Lompoc schools are even doing worse than the Santa Barbara Goleta school districts.
Is he the guy that's had worked with youth at risk?
Yes, he's already had a lot of experience with working with youth at risk, and he agrees with us that we need to get back to basics teaching, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
The greatest tragedy you can do is to undereducate a youth, because that'll stick with them their whole life. And just, if you wanted to create a class system, that's how you would do it, is just make sure that you have undereducated students graduating and becoming adults.
And it's just a shame because there is so much talent here. And look at the businesses coming into Santa Barbara. Well, we just had Amazon buy one of our buildings. We've got Jeff Bezos. What's his last name? Bezos. He's bought a home in Montecito. You've got Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. They both just bought a house in Montecito. Now, their kid, Archie, is probably not going to be going to public schools. Just recently, Meghan was quoted in an article about really wanting to asking people to get out and vote for woke. Woke is what is disturbing. Woke is what's keeping our kids behind. And it's the idea of being woke, and it's the indoctrination of the progressive left that is hurting our schools and making it very difficult for teachers to teach the basics because of all these social agendas that are being taught instead.
Yeah, doesn't it teach them that they're victims?
It does.
right? And then by creating them as victims, then they have no hope in life.
And the thing about quality education, if you look at the different countries around the world and you look at the different economic systems, it's really capitalism is what has promoted, brought more people out of wealth, in fact,
Out of
poverty than any other system. In fact,
True.
there was an article in the Wall Street Journal just yesterday about how the wealth gap has really shrunk during the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because you had very low unemployment. People are out working. As you work and you're able to save, it creates wealth.
Yeah,
In
it was
fact-
really the proof that high employment creates better wages for all people,
Right.
especially the very bottom rung people. So it was really working until we had the pandemic.
So for myself personally, I'm the first person in my family to be able to graduate from college. And graduating with a high school degree or a college degree, it doesn't guarantee you success, but it certainly opens a lot more doors for you than if you're not well educated. If you can't add, if you can't subtract, if you can't do trigonometry, not to mention if they're going to be scientists. I mean, we have Raytheon here. We've got the Space Force opening up at Vandenberg Air Force Base. Our kids need to be well taught so that they can enter into fields that are going to be adding to those labor forces. Otherwise, they're going to bringing people outside the county in to do those jobs because our kids are not getting the education they need to be able to be successful. And by the way, I'll do a little pitch for Latin. One of my kids teaches Latin, and it's like if they really want children to be bilingual, do well in math and science, teach them Latin. Give them Latin along with their English classes and Spanish classes, but teach them Latin. It gives them a foundation in their education that will help them in every aspect of education, including becoming a scientist, a doctor, or a lawyer. I know that many of the districts have discontinued it not to the benefit of the kids. The kids would all benefit by having Latin being taught more thoroughly throughout the schools.
And it's one of the basics of many languages also, isn't it?
It is. It's the foundation of many languages. So if you learn Latin, not only will your English be better, but also so is going to be your Spanish, your German, your French. There's so many, like Portuguese, so many
Italian.
languages, Italian, that are all they have the foundation of Latin and Latin roots behind it. But it's really important for people who go into medicine, whether they're a nurse or a doctor, that they understand Latin, because all of those medicines are Latin words. The same thing's true with law.
Mm-hmm.
People who go into law, it's a great benefit for them as well. So that's my pitch on Latin. Parents, start asking your schools to start offering Latin. It's a discipline that is underserved in our area.
So basically what you're saying is that we as a party have heard the parents and the parents' demand for better education, and we're here to supply candidates who are committed to bringing that about and changing our schools and through another party being in charge.
So another school that's had a lot of controversy has been the San Ynez High School. There we've got Stephen Luke and Janine Robitaille Philippine running for school board there. Again, two candidates that want to get back to basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And you can see all of our candidates by going to our website. What's that, Ed, the website?
SantaBarbaraGOP.org.
Very good. And you can find all of our endorsed candidates on the list. The other big controversy has been at the Santa Barbara City College. I don't know if you viewers saw what happened with the Pledge of Allegiance. It was about a year and a half ago. One of our candidates, Celeste Barber, led the charge. She heard they were going to do away with the Pledge of Allegiance at Santa Barbara City College board meetings or board of trustee meetings. She complained about it. She was surrounded by a group that's called PODER, led by one of the teachers, and she was basically told to shut down. Because that video was picked up by news services like Fox and CNN and the other larger networks, all of a sudden that became a national issue. And then City College reinstated the pledge under the pressure of donors and parents, as well as students, to bring back the Pledge of Allegiance to their meetings. Again, the Board of Trustees at Santa Barbara City College is, they are moving way far to the left, moving away from reading, writing, and arithmetic, and moving more into woke doctrine, and which is just a disservice to our students.
And Celeste is running for Santa Barbara City College trustee.
Yes, she is. Celeste Barber is running for Santa Barbara City College
Now,
trustee.
she was a professor there, wasn't she?
She was.
Yes,
she
professor
was.
of English. So
Right.
PhD in English professor. She has a good handle on what's going on at Santa Barbara City College.
She's running for District 4. And then we have endorsed Veronica Gallardo. She's running for District 3.
She's an incumbent, but she's also committed to
quality education.
academic excellence.
And then Ronald
Lichty.
Lichty.
Yeah, Lichty.
He's also running for trustee District 2. And then we have Lou Segal.
Ron's got a great background in that he's a business manager for the fire department, Santa Barbara County Fire Department.
Right.
He's a CPA, so he's going to bring fiscal responsibility to Santa Barbara Community College.
Great. And that's what we really feel. It's not that there's not enough money. It's that the way the money is being spent and the way these programs are being dished out.
And what they're spending it on.
And the proof is in the pudding. Our kids are failing. And we are an affluent neighborhood. Look where we are, Ed. We've got
Isn't
the
it
beautiful view of the harbor here.
Love it.
We are an affluent community, and we need our kids to perform better, and our public schools to be vibrant, and not to be entrenched with liberalism.
So tell us more about the Santa Barbara County Board of Education trustees.
Okay, so at the you've got Cage Englander. He's running for District number 2, and Lou Segal, and both of them. Cage is one of our younger candidates, and he's self-employed. He has his own business, and he's young. He's about 18, 19 years old. But we felt like having a young voice, someone who is a young conservative on the Board of Education, would just be a breath of fresh air.
He attended Santa Barbara City College also, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
And he has worked over in San Ynez. I think he grew up here in Santa Barbara and went through Santa Barbara schools. So he's got firsthand knowledge of the things that have been going on in the school district.
From a student's perspective.
Lou Segal is a more mature man, has had a tremendous amount of experience in working with in the private sector and the public sector. And he's a very articulate writer. And if there's an article that was printed by The Independent that asks a very simple question: should the incumbents be reelected? And the answer is very clear after you read the stats. He shows all the stats from the county in that article.
Yes.
And
so do a global search on The Independent, Lou Segal, and read it.
See
it's
the
a
article.
Great article.
It really lays out what's been happening in the county over the last 20 years. Keep in mind that some of these trustees have been in those positions for 20 years. And we just need to have fresh eyes, fresh ideas, and people who really want back to basics approach to our education system here.
For our educational institutions to be responsible to the students and to the parents.
And the other thing, to have transparency. The school districts are doing things behind the scenes that are not transparent with the parents. So, for example, the Teen Talk curriculum, there's a whitewashed version of the Teen Talk curriculum that's available online, but it's been whitewashed. It's not the full curriculum. Parents have to sign a document stating that they will not watch the program with their child. So what does that tell you? And it's been paid for by Planned Parenthood. And in any other generation, the Teen Talk curriculum would be considered pornography. And I kid you not, it's just, there's another program, meets all the state standards, and it's not that we're against sex education, because we're not, but there's one called the Heart curriculum that teaches more family values, It is way less pornographic. It doesn't have all the pictures and doesn't show them how every way you can possibly
have sex.
Have sex, exactly. It's a much more modest, but it opens up for conversation that kids can have with their parents. The parents are the ones that should be teaching their children about sex education. They should be part of the plan and not be shut out so they don't know what's being taught. Hard curriculum has been adopted by the Orange County School District. It's completely online. You can look it up by Googling the hard curriculum for sex education in California, and you can learn all about it. They also have done a very good job of outlining the things that are troubling about teen talk. And again, it's the lack of transparency that people are seeing in that curriculum. Then the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is and so like I said, we've got quality candidates in education across the field.
Bruce Porter, Michelle DeWord.
Bruce Porter, Michelle DeWord, and we've got Lou Segal and Cage Englander.
Right.
And then for Santa Barbara City College, it's Ron Letke, Veronica Gallardo, Celeste Barber. And then going down to Santa Barbara Unified, it's Brian Campbell, Elrod McLaren. And then we have Carolyn Abate for Goleta Unified along with Greg Hemmel. And then going to the North County, we've got, for Allen Hancock Board of Trustees, we've got Bobbi Mercado and Suzanne Levy. We also have, again, for San Ynez Unified School District, we have Janine Robitaille Philippine, Stephen Luke. And then for the Lompoc School, we have Gary Cox, Kathy Froming, and William Bill Heath. He's an incumbent. And then we also have in Santa Maria Bonita School District, Linda Cordero. And for Santa Maria Union School, we have Gabriel Amora Morales, David Vasquez.
Jack Garvin.
And Jack Garvin for Santa Maria Joint Union High School District. So that's our list of candidates. Again, you can find it at our website, which is santabarbaragop.org.
And there's links to these individual websites for the candidates as well, right?
Where you can learn more information about them. Also, many of them have candidate statements in the booklet that will be arriving on your doorstep on Saturday. Unfortunately, it didn't arrive with your ballot, which it usually does, but this year it'll be arriving on Saturday, a few days after you received your ballot.
So if you're not sure, don't fill that ballot out yet. Wait till those candidate statements show up, and then you can read those and make your decision.
Then the other area that of its concern were the special districts. So we had one of the special districts was the Goleta Water District, and the Goleta Water District just had a 19% increase in water rates, even though the district is flush with water. They're not allowing any more meters to be sold.
Right.
And they're raising rates. And my understanding is that in January, our rates are going to triple in Goleta. So 19% in July, as of July 1st, and a triple rate starting in January. Of course, January 2022, the governor has his own new plan for us on water. And that is that each household will get 55 gallons per person.
Per day
In the household. And if you take a look, if you have any guests, the fines are very steep if you use too much water.
If you have a break or a leak, you could really have a problem.
You could have a real problem. And when I say steep, I mean the first offense is $1,000, second offense is $10,000. And you might not even know that you're an offender until you get your bill at the end of the month. So one of the ways in which we can mitigate what the governor is doing is try to get conservatives on the water board. So we have a wonderful young farmer. His name is Sheldon Bazio. His family has been here for 5 generations. They had 5 generations farming in Santa Barbara in the Goleta Valley. And he's passionate about making sure that the water regulation is going to be fair to not only the residential but also to the local farmers. And believe it or not, we have quite a number of small farms in the Goleta Valley and Santa Barbara area. And Lane Farms, they've got their beautiful pumpkin patch up running right now. You've got the San Marcos Growers that have the nursery over off of by Vaughn's on Turnpike. So there's just a number of
Lots and lots of orchards in the foothills.
right, and lots of orchards in the foothill. Water is their bread and butter. If you start overcharging for their water, they're going to have to pass that on to the grocery store. So all of our crops are going to become, our fruit, vegetables become more expensive because of water being more expensive. I think any practical person, sensible person can understand that.
I don't think any of us want to see our water bills triple anyway.
Anyway,
Yes.
exactly.
So vote for Sheldon Bozio for.
It's Sheldon Bozio, Phoebe Manzer, and Lauren Mason. Vote for those three
For the
Goleta
Goleta
Water District. Yes.
Yes.
And we need to get more conservatives on that board. Then one of the districts that's well run in Goleta is the Goleta Sanitation District. And it's amazing because that has been run by, it has had a majority of Republicans on that board for a number of years. And it's one of the best run groups or government agencies that we have locally. It's a fine example of how when you get people that are sensible, we're not talking about radical, we're talking about sensible people that care about your business, care about your residences, making sure that they keep the prices down and the services that are well suited for our residences.
That's what I plan to do.
That's right. And then we have Ed Fuller. He would be joining a board of already some very capable conservative people. And Ed, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I'm currently a planning commissioner for the city of Goleta, and I'm just hoping to do more for the citizens of Goleta and serve them on the board of the Goleta Sanitary District. I'm a native of Santa Barbara, lived here my whole life, gone to local schools, including some work at UCSB, certificate in professional accounting from UCSB Extension.
Great.
Yeah, I believe in common sense and responsibility and keeping the costs down, but producing a product for the ocean.
Yes.
That is a quality product, so that we maintain our environment.
Right. That's fantastic. And who are you running with? Do you know George Emerson or Robert Wagner? Have you met them?
George Emerson, he's the incumbent, and he's been doing a great job there.
Yeah.
So I hope that people will vote for him also.
And then Robert Wagner, do you know him?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know him either, but he has our endorsement.
Yes.
He is, again, sensible center person, and I believe he's also an incumbent running. Yeah. No?
No,
Okay,
I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
sure. Okay, only George?
But he might be, yeah.
Okay.
So George definitely is, yeah.
Great. And then for our Goleta West Sanitary District, we have Michael Simeon and David C. Lewis. I know more about Michael than David. Michael is an entrepreneur. He's got 2 or 3 small businesses, and he wanted to serve our community in any way he could. And so we had an opening in the Goleta West Sanitary District. And he's running for that office. He would definitely like to serve our community in Goleta. Again, he's somebody who's been raised here, gone to school here, and he has opened up several different businesses here in town. So he's a small business owner. David Lewis, I don't know a lot about David. I know we had a statement from him, and I know that he's a conservative, but I believe he'll do a very fine job on the Goleta West Sanitary District. Then going to the North County, and this is the whole thing, when you're the county chair, you have a lot of areas that you uncover. So we have the race for mayor of Solvang. We endorsed Karen Waite. We feel like with her background and experience, she's going to do the best job for the city of Solvang as mayor. And then running for the city council, we've endorsed Justin Rodriguez, Mark Infante, and they are running for the Solvang City Council, and we're recommending them. Then we also have conservative Susan Durbiano, who's running for the Solvang School District. We're recommending her for the Solvang School District. Then in Lompoc, there's a contentious mayor race going on, but Victor Vega, we're hoping he will be the victor. He's been serving on the Santa Barbara for the Lompoc City Council for many years. Do you know how many years?
I don't.
No, I
but
think it's
a
been
long
about,
time.
I think it's been 2 terms as city council, and now he's running for mayor. He's also lived in and works in Lompoc. He's a local realtor, and so I know he's been up there for quite some time. Then for city council and Lompoc City Council, we've got Gilda Cordova and Jim Mosby. Jim Mosby is he's a very active person in the community. He's also a small business owner, small landlord. He also runs the fields for soccer and that kind of thing in the city. And he's a very conscientious. He'd make a conscientious city council member. So last but not least, in Santa Maria, we've endorsed Mike Cordero, Alice Patino for mayor, and she's been a long time serving on the Santa Maria City Council, doing an excellent job, and Mike Cordero for City Council in Santa Maria. So that is, and then last but not least, we have David Vasquez running for the Santa Maria Airport Board. He's an incumbent, and he's been doing an excellent job of running the airport in Santa Maria, trying to get it busy. So we also recommend voting for David Basket for Santa Maria Airport Board. So, and let's talk about the propositions
Let's
for a
talk
minute.
about the propositions, yes.
It's very simple, right?
Very simple.
So, why don't you go ahead, Ed?
Well, we recommend voting no on all of them except for Proposition 20 and 22.
Right.
Yeah.
And Prop 20 is the one that is AB 5, right? Or is that 22?
That's 22, right?
Okay.
And that's going to allow Uber drivers to not be required to be employees, still allow them to be independent contractors.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's starting to peel back that law that was put in place last year for AB 5. It has created so much chaos in the community because.
Yes. I mean, you would think that just being self-employed, anybody could do it, but not with AB 5. So many people that that do work for other people, all of a sudden, just because they actually do work for somebody else, means they're an employee, and they have to be subject to all the laws of employees, and the people that hire them are subject to all the laws. So the very smallest amounts of work, say a writer writing an article, or a musician writing a song, or doing a performance, all of a sudden, they're now becoming employees of anybody that hires them. Talk about anti-business.
It's also the wedding planners.
Yes.
People that they're doing photography at weddings.
Photography.
Often those are people that have full-time jobs somewhere else, and it's a gig they do to supplement their income. They have to have an LLC, and just so that the audience knows, California is the most expensive state to get an LLC. Did you know that, Ed?
I didn't know that.
Okay, for example, in Hawaii to form an LLC, it's $50 a year.
Jeez.
Not a big deal. But guess how much it is in California?
$800?
$800, a whopping $800.
Just for the privilege of having your own company.
And your own business.
But then you're an employee of the business. So.
Exactly. Then you're an employee of the business. So it has really disrupted the small business people who are doing, we call it the gig economy. It's really made their life miserable. And they are subject to so much. I mean, even the cost of forming an LLC, you have to go to an attorney.
Right.
You might be able to get away with going to illegalzoom.com or something.
That still costs money.
It still costs money.
Hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars. If you go to an attorney, it's $2,000. So the LLC, it's to force part-time independent contractors to become an LLC. It just doesn't seem fair.
It's stopping business just when it's starting, because if you want to start, then all of a sudden you're subject to all these rules and regulations and requirements. So it makes it not so worthwhile to even try. So it's discouraging small businesses from starting.
Right, and then Proposition 20, that's to do with the law enforcement. There is
right. So. Many people think that we might have made a mistake when we passed Proposition, I think it was 47.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. I mean, some laws or some penalties for some laws did seem excessive, so they played on us with that. And they're now making it so correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's $900 or is it thousands of dollars now before they'll even, respond to a call for theft.
Right, that's right. Where it used to be, if you stole over $1,000, it was considered grand theft. Now they don't get charged, and they're not being prosecuted.
And nobody's even coming to show up to take a report.
Wow.
So it's just giving criminals the right to commit crimes and not suffer any consequences. So.
So Proposition 20 is putting some of those restrictions that used to be there in place, putting them back in place.
Right.
And then let's go to the national scene. Let's talk about. We have a few more minutes.
Well, no, let's talk about our state level candidates.
Yeah, state level candidates. Great.
Tell us about our state level candidates, Bobbi.
Okay, we have Gary Michaels running for the state senate, and Charlie Cole running for the assembly. I don't know if people are aware, but Monique Lamone has declared herself to be a self-proclaimed socialist, communist. She definitely believes she's the one that wanted to allow communists to be able to work in the government, and she was the casting vote to approve that law. And there was such an uproar of the Vietnamese senators from the San Diego and Orange County area that that bill did not pass through. But that was a very telling bill because Monique Lamone wrote it. She was definitely somebody who was supporting it, and she was casting the final vote to have it go through. So that's how liberal. She's a progressive left liberal, and liberalism just has not worked. It makes life for private enterprise very difficult. And then, so she's running against Gary Michaels. Gary is a small businessman, software engineer out of Santa Maria, and he is he also is a very common sense person, and he wants to bring common sense back to the state legislature and assembly. And right now, you're probably wondering why all these crazy laws are coming out of Sacramento. And when I say crazy, I mean requiring the COVID-19 has brought a whole new level of restrictions and rules and regulations. But even prior to that, there's an excessive amount of regulation coming out of Sacramento. The reason why is because we have such few members and representation in Sacramento. In fact, the last remaining assemblyman for our assembly is Jordan Cunningham from the San Luis Obispo area, and he has also a portion of Santa Maria. And Jordan is fighting to be able to stay at the assembly. He is the last standing Republican or conservative, if you will, on the coastal areas of California. We're hoping we're going to have a red wave. You folks are going to help us so that we're going to be able to get control
some
of
sense back into the
legislature and have some. We need a two-party state.
Right. Some opposition.
Right. And Charlie Cole's running for the assembly. He's young, but he's enthusiastic. He can learn quickly. He's bright. He's got an accounting background, and he wants to serve our community by representing us up at the assembly. So it's we wanted to give, my goal as the chairman of the Santa Barbara GOP this year was to give people choices. You have some clear choices this year on the ballot. In almost every category, you have a choice between a conservative or a liberal. And liberalism, in fact, there's a big sign in Idaho that I posted on my Facebook post yesterday. It's so funny. It says, "Welcome to Idaho." Liberalism, but be sure to vote conservative because liberalism doesn't work. If liberalism worked, you'd be still living in California. So that they have so many Californians moving into Idaho. And that's the truth. Liberalism is bankrupting our local governments as well as our state government. And we need to be able to support small businesses. And let's talk about Andy Caldwell. Now, Andy Caldwell, we couldn't have a better candidate for running for Congress.
Yep.
He knows He's been a watchdog in Santa Barbara County
For decades.
For 30 years. He understands our county and our needs better than anyone. Salud has been hiding. We don't know where Salud, but he's been very little, has been sort of hands off on our county when it came to this COVID crisis. For example, Ed, did you know that the federal government was offering to set up hospitals where areas where they were having a spike in the COVID-19 virus, and Lompoc Prison had a major outbreak.
Yeah,
where
I think every prisoner there got COVID-19. Yeah.
And then it was only because of people like Jordan Cunningham that finally got in touch with the federal government. Salud did nothing to help the prison set up its own private hospital. So because there wasn't a private hospital for the sick prisoners, the staff got sick. They took that COVID-19 virus out into the community.
Right.
So that's why there's been a spike in Santa Maria and Lompoc. Much of it comes from what happened at the prison and the neglect of Salud Carbajal. And then last but not least, let's talk about our president. Let's talk about the debate.
Let's talk about it.
So what did you think of the debate, Ed?
Well, it looked like it was 2 against 1.
Oh, really? What do you mean?
Chris Wallace.
Oh, Chris Wallace.
Yeah, it was. As a matter of fact, Trump even mentioned that he didn't realize he was debating Chris Wallace.
As well as Joe Biden.
As well as Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt it was like a boxing match. And you know how boxers, they give digs, right?
Sure.
I felt like that Trump came out swinging, and he was making his digs. Joe but did better than, there was no knockout, but he did better than I think people anticipated. But he looked strained. He looked like it was memorized. I would have liked for him to have had a little more free conversation so that he didn't have to wasn't reciting memorized doctrine.
Well, you understand that they allowed him to have a device in his ear.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah, that was part of the rules on the debate. It was almost a last-minute thing, but yeah, they allowed him to have an earpiece so that he could be coached while he's standing
So that's maybe why he looked so tense. He was probably trying to listen
to what, while Trump is talking at him.
That explains something. I do think there were some very important points that came up about both candidates. We have a very good choice. This country has a choice. We can continue to live in a free America, or we can move the country even more towards socialism.
And towards Chinese form of government.
A Chinese form of government. Not only the virus, but the Chinese form of government.
Yeah,
exactly.
Biden and his son are very close with the Chinese communists. And that kind of closeness does not make for our freedoms here at home.
And I don't know why Biden was unable to say that he would not defund the police. I mean, none of the police or sheriff are endorsing him. So why? Why would they not? Why are they not endorsing President Biden? Do you know, Ed?
Why are they not endorsing him?
Yeah.
Because they made their choices. They know who's in their corner, and it's President Trump.
Yeah, he's the law and order president.
He is.
And I mean,
but he's not the autocratic, militarist, right? You know, he's not the fascist that the people have said he is. He's proven it. I mean, he certainly had every chance and opportunity, to crack down across the country, and he didn't do it. He did not do it.
He's done a lot, though.
Well, he's tried to encourage all of the local law enforcement agencies to do it.
Right.
And he stood behind those that did do it. And when they've asked for his help, he's been there. But, it's up to us to elect the people who are going to protect us and not protect rioters and looters.
And one of the points that Biden mentioned was that he looked at the camera and was talking right to the people, and he said that the stock market being up only helps corporate America. And that is simply not true, people. You have to realize that your 401ks, your 529 family planning for your kids' college education, your retirement funds. All of those are impacted, are in the stock market. So if we have a crash in this economy because all of a sudden, what is Joe Biden going to do? He's going to be charging 70% in the upper levels of taxation. He wants to redistribute the wealth, much like Obama did. During Obama's 8-year tenure, we had the slowest growth period since World War II. Trump has only been in office for 3 years, and he's had to deal with the pandemic. And we had way low unemployment for every person.
We've had record low unemployment in this country. I mean, it's just, it was pretty, people say it was low when he started, but it just kept getting lower. He managed to keep it going down, and that's only benefited the very poor the most. It's benefited the minorities. It's and it's allowed opportunity for people who wouldn't have had it otherwise.
I think people forget that President Trump didn't have to be president. He was very wealthy, very successful in his own right. He's doing this job. He's doing the job of president for us, the workers of America, the private small business people. That is who he represents.
And they hate him because he isn't a career politician.
and yes, he's brash. He's brash in some ways, but he actually has stirred up a lot. He's exposing the left so that we have a clear choice, people. You can choose freedom and liberty and a continuation of capitalism, and which has lifted millions of people out of poverty around the world. Or you can go ahead and go along with the Democrats and go along with their ideology of liberalism
and victimization
and redistribution of wealth.
Right.
So if you have any assets, they're coming after them.
Right.
And
I mean, even the state of California has talked about a wealth tax.
Right.
So that they're going to start by, it starts out small, but they're going to start small, and they're going to start taking money that you have already earned and just, that you have, and start taxing you on that. So these people, they've never seen a tax they don't like. They've never seen somebody else's money that they don't want. It's envy and greed on the part of those who haven't earned it.
That's well said, Ed. Well said. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
but
they're anti-responsibility. They don't want people to be responsible for themselves.
And
the Republican Party is the party of personal responsibility.
And we both sell real estate. We both have helped families get into homes. And there is no greater joy than being able to help someone who has saved their pennies. And it's expensive in Santa Barbara. It's hard to buy property in Santa Barbara. But when you help people for the first time buying their first home, they have saved up their money for their down payment, and they take ownership of that home. You are not only benefiting that family, you're benefiting that neighborhood.
That's
so
right.
We want an economy that's going to be supportive of our pro-business, pro-restaurant, pro-hair salon, pro any small business, the Uber driver, the Lyft driver, the wedding planner. That is what Republicans want. We are the party that supports liberty, freedom, and the right to work for everyone.
Right to pursue your personal happiness, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Pursuit of
for
happiness.
Everybody.
For everybody.
With equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have some ideas for President Trump at the next debate, Ed?
Do I have some ideas for him in the next debate? Prepare. I think he might have done better if he'd prepared for it, honestly. He said he wasn't preparing for it. He should have prepared for it. One of the things I saw mentioned, and I agree, he wasn't addressing the audience directly most of the time.
Right.
He was talking to Biden. He should have been talking directly to the camera
and to the American people.
To the American people.
Oh,
Ignore
that's a good
Biden.
Point.
Good point. You leave him off there as the sideshow that he is, which is really unfortunate.
Right.
I have a great deal of respect for many Democrats and the Democratic Party that's been in the past.
Yes.
But it's hard to have respect for them these days at all. I mean, they're just.
I used to be a Democrat. I used to be a Democrat. I was a JFK Democrat, And then the party left me. And I realized that I was a true conservative. I was a Republican. I want life, liberty, and freedom, and I want pro-business. So please, I know our time is limited now. Just remember a few things. Our website is www.santabarbara.gop.org. You can see our list of endorsed candidates. You can also find the list of all the propositions with explanations about each and every one and why we oppose or support a different proposition. And also we have links to the elections office. You can find out where your voting location is, where or how to vote by mail, and also how to track your vote. We really want people to be able to track their vote. If you signed up for the tracking, when the elections office receives your ballot, that you will get an email saying that you have been counted. And that will be reassuring to everybody about their votes counting. And every vote does count. If you need help with getting to the polls or getting someone to pick up your ballot, our phone number is on the website, as well as our email address.
We certainly will be happy to help.
I think we have the phone number right here, don't we, on the sign? Yeah, it's 805-569-1136. And that's your GOP phone number. We can help you with all things to do with voting and our Republican candidates. So Ed Fuller, vote for Ed for the Goleta Sanitation District. He'll do a great job. And vote Republican. Let's get back to a two-party state, people. We need a two-party state.
We need some loyal opposition, and we would be thrilled to be that loyal opposition. Keep things in check, not have one party running rampant over the state.
Right. We want California to be golden, and we want Santa Barbara County to be a prosperous and affluent county that it should be, with all of our natural resources.
And we want it for all people.
All people.
Yes.
No matter what color, no matter what race, no matter what background.
What religion, yeah.
Or religion,
yeah.
Exactly.
We're a big tent party.
We are a big tent party, and I'm a big tent chair. So please join us.
Thank you, Bobbi.
Thank you, Ed.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And again, people, our website is www.santabarbara.org. That's where you go to get all the information regarding the election. And thank you for your time today, and thank you for listening.